To finish this section, we will have a look at the variances. How will we deal with the variances related to cost and schedule? First, I will define what schedule and cost variances are. How do we interpret these variances? What actions do we have to undertake? And how we react to variances when we are using earned value management. Schedule variance is related to the difference between the planned start and finish dates of activities and their actual start and finish. Cost variance relates to the difference between the planned expenses and the actual expenses. Cost variances relate to the budgeted cost and show how the budget is being spent. This is important information for the financial planning officer or for the CFO or whoever is managing the budget. How do we interpret the variances? Negative variances relate to bad news. Project is late or over budget. Positive variances, on the other hand, are good news. The project is ahead of schedule or we are spending less than planned. Schedule variances can be deducted from the Gantt chart. But it's very important to see where are those variances happening. Where is the schedule going, slower or faster? When we look at the critical path activities, all schedule variance on critical path tasks will lead to a change of the project duration. A negative schedule variance will lead to an increased duration of the project, while a positive schedule variance will lead to a reduced duration of the project. On the other hand, we also can have a look at non-critical path tasks. When there are variances on non-critical path tasks, all depends how much slack is still available, what is happening to the other activities, because some of those non-critical path activities are late or are being executed faster than planned. Cost variances may be more difficult to interpret. Are they really indications of overspending, or is it due to different spending? There are different elements we have to evaluate here. When we have variances, how will we react to them? I showed some small graph on the right-hand side, and the top one is a periodic movement. The ideal duration is the solid line in the middle. When you start acting on those variances, it may happen that you improve, then it goes worse again, and you come into some kind of oscillation around an average duration or cost. The bottom graph with the red line, it's even worse because our actions are not stable. We increase instability. We create resonance by acting too fast, too aggressively to those variances. And finally, the project, instead of stabilizing, becomes unstable. It's typically when you give people some work to do and you change it all the time. At the end, you come into a state of resonance where finally no work is done anymore. The green line is the best line. There is a slow adjustment. The variations diminish, and finally, our corrective actions bring the project slowly back on the desired position, doing it in a planned way, not by overreacting. When we look at the earned value and the variances, we have to look at some different definition of variances. The green line is the S-curve. In this case, we made a straight line. It's a special case, it's a simplified case. And when the project is finishing at the planned time, the project costs the budget at completion. When we look at our reporting moment T1, the amount that is planned for that moment is PV, the planned value. And now we have to see what is being produced. What did we do? In the graph, we have the S-curve, in this case, simplified to a linear or to a straight line. The end time of the project is T planned, and the final cost of the project is the budget at completion. Now let's have a look at our reporting time, T1. At T1, we have a planned value, the green dot, which we expect to be completed. We expected to have created a certain number of deliverables, which each have a value. So the planned value is the combination of the deliverables we created and the cost or the estimated cost of those deliverables. Now we have to look at T1, how many deliverables did we really create? And what was the estimated value of those deliverables? And that's the blue dot. The blue dot, or earned value, tells us how many deliverables we created or how much value we earned. And we see the blue dot is below the green dot. It means that we created less deliverables than we planned. This also means that the project is late. We are clearly behind schedule. The difference between the planned value and the earned value is the schedule variance. And in this case, it will be a negative schedule variance. The next parameter to consider is how much did we pay to create those deliverables? That's the red dot. The red dot gives us the actual cost of all the deliverables we created. And what do we see? The blue dot tells us to create these deliverables, we estimated a certain cost, the earned value. However, in reporting, we see that we paid more in this case. So here we have a cost variance because we are paying more than we estimated to create the deliverables. The red dot is below the green dot. In the previous approach, or in the classic approach, people would say, this is great, we are below budget. But here we see the fact that the red button is above the blue one, we are in fact not working efficiently. We are above budget. So these elements can be used to indicate what the status of the project is. Here, our project is late and we are overspending. Today, project managers talk differently. They will not say that the project is late or that we are over the budget. The project manager in this case will say that the project has a negative schedule variance and a negative cost variance. And this is the last session here about the execution. We still have to make a short wrap up after the section, and then we are ready to go to project closing. See you in the next session.